Hello, Mark, and welcome to the Martin Talk Show. I'm really excited to talk to you today about your show that's heading to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. No Hard Felix.
No Hard Felix, that's right. Thank you,
tell me,
Martin. Thanks for having me on.
no problem at all. Tell me about the show. What's No Hard Felix all about then?
Well, I mean, No Hard Felix, a little play on words already. It's the main character. Well, it's a one-man show, so its main character is Felix, who is a finance bro, a sort of toxic masculine guy.
Mhm.
And the issue for Felix is that he's having some struggles in the bedroom. Things are not getting hard. So no hard
Ah.
Felix. Um, and this sends Felix, he wants to fix himself, fix this problem that
Mhm.
is very counter to the alpha male guy that he sees himself. So it sends him on a little journey. So it's 1 hour. I'm doing it at just the tonic at 1:20 for the first half of the Edinburgh Fringe. So very, very excited to go and do it. And it'll be my first time performing at the Fringe as well. So looking
Yeah,
forward
what
to it.
what an exciting thing to be diving into. Have you got any experience of other festivals like the Fringe, or is this the first thing you're doing like this? Are you going straight in at the deep end?
Straight into the deep end. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've been an actor most of my adult life and I've been doing screen work mainly. So I haven't done any theater festivals. And so, yeah, it's a whole big learning experience for me of, the flyering and getting bums on seats and,
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully doing a successful show, but I really don't know what I'm stepping into. So could be a bit, chaotic.
Isn't it, I think that's part of the excitement though, isn't it? When we don't know quite where we're going, when we maybe have a little idea, but still there's a lot of unsurety there. So what drew you to it? What as an actor made you go, I want to be part of that. I want to be in that arena.
The Fringe.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I've attended as a spectator, and there is this. I mean, I don't know what it was like back in the day, but there is a kind of purity in a sense of like, right, I have a show. We're probably no one's going to be making a huge amount of money.
No.
We're going to go and give what we have to the audience, and yeah, I like that. I like the simplicity of it. And I guess it is the big theater festival in the UK, certainly, and maybe beyond that. So, it's sort of been something I'd wanted to do, but, yeah, so now it's happening, but there's, yeah, the whole buzz and yeah, there's a whole adventure to the Fringe that I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah. So why take this show then? What is it about this show that's that where did the idea come from to take No Hard Felix there?
I mean, I've most of my writing has been about, men and I guess toxic masculinity. I know that's a bit of a buzzword, but
Mhm.
this idea that, men are acting in a way that is I believe harmful to the world and harmful to themselves and those around them.
Mhm.
Uh, we've got that Louis Theroux Manosphere documentary, and we've had things bubbling up to do with men and adolescence, and I want to be part of that conversation,
Yes, yeah.
through comedy. This
Mhm.
is a silly show, so it's a different angle. But I felt it was a good time for it. Um, and I also like the idea, in terms of how men are in the world. It's like Me Too maybe came out like 10 years ago, and a lot of the voices there were women,
Mhm.
and rightly so.
Yeah.
And we haven't had like a lot of men maybe contributing to the conversation in I guess in a positive direction, really.
I
You'll
guess
get a
those
lot of.
those those negative voices in the world of that toxic masculinity has become so loud, hasn't it? It's become so, with social media, the engagement there with all of that toxic masculinity, it's being driven by the algorithm, and and the younger generation in particular are eating it up, and they're being led by this, aren't they?
100%. And who are their positive male role models? Like
Mhm.
I could not name you one. I don't
Yeah.
know. You know, the only ones that are in my head are like Andrew Tate and, you know, even someone for me like Joe Rogan, like 10 years ago, I would have watched his stuff. And now I feel like so they're all part of this sort of, you know, manosphere world, which I don't feel
Mm.
is certainly not helpful to young men. And yeah, so yeah, if like if my show can be a tiny little something in the conversation, that would be great.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's definitely something that we can do out in the real world, isn't there? This resonates really deeply with me, Mark, because
mhm,
when I started this podcast, I had this sense of I was just consumed by the negativity online.
mhm,
It was drawing me in, and it was all consuming, and I'd had enough of it. And for me, there was a thought in the back of my mind that went, I want to contribute in a way to the positive, and I
right.
want to do something to help lift up the positive people in the world, the positive voices, and if anything, to help myself feel a little bit better about the world. But
Mm.
what I've noticed by going to places like the Edinburgh Fringe, there's an opportunity there to do something even more impactful when you're in the real world, when you come away from social media, when you do a theatre production, when you share a story, like something like you're doing here. Do you notice the impact that you can have within theatre is different than what you get on social media?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the whole social media side of things. I mean, the negative comment space. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure you've been dealing with that for the
Yeah.
entirety of the time you've done this. Like it's
Mhm.
you know, there's something about being in a room with somebody and like ultimately my goal with this show is let's have the gags, let's laugh. But if I can move you a little bit, if I can make you question something, then perfect. And there's something about being faced with that. And even like I think the one man show is a good avenue for that because you just there's the person right there for an hour and
Mhm.
I'm faced with this. I think it really can have
Yeah.
an impact. You know, you could, that feeling when you leave the theater and you felt like, whoa, okay, like I'm inspired or I learned something or I want to go and I want to, you know, I who gets that feeling from scrolling on social media and like, you know,
No, no.
reading a comment and like, oh, you know,
Yeah, and I think
but
it's
theater,
something on the time as well that you're in a theatre space for. When you're in a theatre space and you go there for an hour, you get a moment to absorb it, to think about it, to reflect on what information you're taking in. Whereas on social media, it's so quick. It's you're looking
mhm,
at something for 30 seconds, or and that's at the top end of time that you look at things. Like often it's like a 3-second soundbite, and you're
yeah,
absorbing that information. And I think all of us are going out into the world seeking some kind of answers. We're seeking some kind of connection, and that's so easy on social media. But when
mhm.
it's so micro delivered to us, there's a danger in that, isn't there?
It just, I mean, it just doesn't feel like the answer to me. Social media, you know,
Yeah.
it's uh, I'm sure, yeah, there's been some positives, but are we really thinking that that's we all have that feeling of like that something's a bit toxic here, or I want to reduce my screen time, or
Mhm.
you know, Twitter is just an absolute cesspool of you know what is this really good? So yeah, I mean that's why I hope that theater can as a medium can just I don't know grow. I don't know if we're going to become just more and more and more digital, or there's going to be a movement back to face to like really feeling something a bit more human.
Mhm.
But
Well, I
like,
hope I hope with the I have this hope and I have this feeling that where AI is infiltrating social media and it's becoming even less human, I feel like there's a real opportunity for a renaissance within the real world with
mhm,
with spaces like
yeah,
theatre and going back to the cinema and, yeah, real world connection. We went so deep in social media for a moment, and I don't think anyone found any benefit there. And so, yeah, now AI has infiltrated that area. none of us. It doesn't connect with you, does it, Mark? Do you feel
No,
any
not really.
connection with AI? I don't know
So
anyone that does.
what do you think? Do you think we will go that way, or do you think we'll just go deeper into AI? Where would you place your bet?
Like I say, I hope, I hope that we move. I hope that, yeah, I hope that we move away from it because, uh, AI is so dead. There is nothing to it. You don't feel anything from it, and I think
Yeah.
humans need feeling. Humans need connection with each other. And
Hmm.
we only get that outside. We only get that at the Fringe Festival. We only get that when we go to the pub. We only get that when we go to the cinema. It doesn't work on social media.
100%. I mean, we maybe are seeing even at like a government level, this like in Australia, they had that, you know, under 16s aren't allowed to have the social media accounts. And
Mhm,
that's the first little inklings that we've seen that are like pushing against this Goliath that is um, this sort of uber capitalist. How much time can I spend on my phone? How much money
mhm,
can they extract off us? And how brain dead and numb can they make us really? So the fact that there is even, you know, now maybe for the first time I can think of a slight shift back to, you know, more people want to get rid of their phones and want to get use these dumb phones or just like we are recognizing as a species that it's
mhm,
like, all right, we can't just, you know, keep going further into this. There's real consequences to that. So
mhm,
I hope that, I mean, and even for actors, you know, with voiceover getting a little bit replaced by I was offered a part in a movie which was just like they could change in the contract, they could change what I say, they could change my facial expressions. So
mhm,
like it doesn't matter if I'm there or not. Like I'm literally a body standing there.
mhm,
So we see this all going in this direction. If there can be some sort of movement or recognition that, particularly with theater, because that's something that you're never going to be able to replace.
mhm. I
Um,
I believe that that movement will start with the money because, you know, we're moving into AI because the production companies, because the producers go, "Oh, this is a cheap way," you know, this is essentially a free way for us to produce something, to put content out in the world. But
mhm,
as they see consumers not buying it, as they can see consumers not connecting, that's when I think we'll get the shift back. At the moment, there's a lot of attention there, and there's a curiosity, but yeah, we won't connect. I don't think we will pay money for it. Would you
mhm.
pay money for it? Would you pay money to go and watch a film that had no human input?
No, absolutely not. No,
No.
I mean, yeah, I'm 100% with you. Yeah, well, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to see. I mean, that's where also the generation behind us, like if what they're used to consuming, if they're
Mm.
so, you know, in, swamped in this AI muck, then it's like maybe that is this content that they want. I don't know, but certainly,
Have you got any ideas of what we can show them, what we can show to the generation that's below, the new generation coming up? Have you any idea how we can help them see the benefit of theatre, of real world connection?
I mean, they just have to be in there, don't they? Like,
Mm.
I was kind of thinking about this today. Like, how can you get people face to face? Like, even not even you know, youngsters and social media. I'm talking about just
Everyone.
you know,
Everyone.
everyone with different opinions. Or how can we like get people to look into each other's eyes and be like, okay, I'm a human being, you're a human being. There's
Mhm,
value here. Like there must. I mean, but then that's not a very cost efficient um thing, really. What's cost efficient is me sitting on my phone scrolling and doing nothing.
yes,
Like
yeah.
that requires like a lot of organization, mobilizing. But there needs to be, I mean, particularly that generation who COVID kind of really screwed them up and they had to do their school online and stuff. Like
Mhm,
those years that they lost of face to face connection. But just the more involved and the more that I think that people can feel what's possible with theater. I mean, I wonder if they even know, like if you've
mhm.
I mean, a concert or an amazing dance show or something where you're just blown away. The more
Yeah,
exposure.
well, talking about concerts, a lot of concerts, they've got this blue dot fever. Have you heard of this that's happening right now?
No.
Where all the big artists are canceling their acts because of blue dots. People aren't buying tickets for things they're pricing the audience out at the moment.
And what's
So
the blue dot?
the blue dots, when you go on Ticket Source and you click on a ticket that you want to buy, and you've got a blue dot, a purple dot, an orange dot. All the blue dots are being left because people just simply can't afford to go.
Right.
And so all the big acts are starting to cancel their productions. So, money within all of this does have a contributing factor to what we can consume and what we can experience within life.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it has to be from, at a government level that the arts are seen as something that's important, which, that's it's something that we can just like discard quite quickly. Really, I feel like if they're looking at their budget and they have the like X, Y, and Z, the arts say, okay, we'll get rid of that, but like not realizing like the real importance of it. And then so, okay, if they're not doing it, what initiatives and what things can we be part of to do it ourselves? And
Mhm.
it's hard, it's that's not, but I there should 100% be affordable, you know, cost effective things that we could go to. Like, I don't want theater to become this thing where if you're going to see great theater, you have to pay 140 quid or something. Like, that's madness.
Yeah, it's becoming elitist, and I think we've had a decade now where arts have been taken out of education and the value of arts has been taken out of politics. And how can we, that question of how can we afford to support the arts? Well, I don't see how now we can afford not to.
Yeah.
We've gone down this road and we've seen the danger of it, and we're seeing things like this toxic masculinity coming out within the population. We've seen how negative things have become. I wonder for
Mhm.
you, Mark, was there a moment of realization where you're like, right, I need to contribute to this conversation now. I must go forward here. I can no longer just sit here scrolling and absorbing.
Um, Let me think. I mean, I've always felt, for me, I'm not sure about you. I mean, you're in the arts as well. It's like, but I grew up in a very like, British and Irish lads world where, we're slagging each other off and
Yeah,
just that's just part of the
answer.
how you,
Yeah.
how you survive.
Mhm,
And there was also this other part of me that was quite expressive and soft, I think, open and sensitive. So I
mhm.
always had these like two things kind of battling. Like, I kind of want to be the alpha dude in a way. Like,
Yeah.
there's part of me that would love to be like,
Mhm,
the, you know, the main man or something.
mhm.
But then, there's another side of me. So these two sides are sort of like throughout my life and going up against each other. And then I don't know if it's that you just sort of called to like express that. I wrote something about um boys growing up in Belfast, this like group of friends, and and how like masculinity affects them at different ages. And then that just led to, I wanted to explore more and more these things that men grapple with, and the damage that happens to men when you don't have any access to your emotions, when
Mhm,
you are told that the only acceptable kind of emotion is anger. Like, what happens like when there is this like weakness or vulnerability that's just like pushed down, pushed down. So these kind of ideas were just growing and growing. And then I got to the point of like, okay, well, how can I do something about this? And actually comedy then appeared to me as like, oh, that's a great avenue into it. So it's not like, oh, we're gonna go watch this, this heavy thing about toxic masculinity, and it's
mhm.
it's it's fun and it's silly. Like, and it also like opens people up. So how can I And then once they're open, you can, say what you need to say, and maybe that's going to land in a way that's stronger. So
Yeah.
this sort of thing just sort of evolved, and then here we are with no Hard Felix and a finance bro who can't get it up. So yeah.
Wow, wow, and so as you're coming up with no hard feelings, that I think all of us, men, women, but I can only talk from my perspective. I think there are points in our life where we struggle working out who we are and how we can have an effect in this world, and I don't think masculinity is necessarily a bad word, is it?
Mhm.
It's that's something that drives us, that we want to be leaders, that we want to be change makers, that we want to be contributing, and I think that's what that masculinity is here. It's,
Mhm.
uh, it's when it turns into being toxic. So what actually is that? Help me understand that part of it a little bit more, because we
Yeah.
see it, I recognize it, but I'm not always sure what it is, and I'm also conscious of myself sometimes potentially moving into it.
I mean, maybe we can work it out together because it's a wee bit tricky. The buzzword of it, of like
Mhm.
toxic masculinity. I mean, I guess now when we think of masculinity, that's what we're thinking of. We're thinking about some sort of negative thing now. But as you say, there is a side of masculinity, you know, integrity, like seems to be something that can be like masculine, like someone who, we live in a Donald Trump world now where there's just, you're never going to apologize. You're never going to back down. But like, I think those qualities can be, um, very masculine. Like as you said, this desire to provide or to create, like, to go further. Like I think they can be very positive traits. The toxic aspect of it for me is, I guess it's tied to this like idea of what men feel like they need to be. You know, you we have to be strong. There's no room for weakness. There's a kind of violence, not necessarily even a physical violence, but this threat of domination, of like power, of um I'm going to raise myself up. Uh, that kind of ambition and pursuit of power, when it goes dark, then I guess we're starting to go
Mhm.
into this toxic realm. And those characters in that Louis Theroux documentary, it's men who are putting other people down and to raise themselves up.
I think you've hit it there. Is that when we're doing harm to others, is when it starts to become toxic. You may have these ideas and these wants to pursue and elevate yourself and become greater, but when we start going, I'm going to become greater at at your expense.
Hmm.
I'm going to become greater by putting you down. Yeah, whether that's through violence or whether it's verbally or whether it's in the home against other
Hmm.
women. Yeah, and between each other as well.
Yeah,
It's not I mentioned women there, but the toxic what's the word? So yeah, when we're being toxic to others simply is not just to one sex, it's to all of us.
it's absolutely. I mean, that's, I think, part of the next part of this conversation is that, okay, we can see quite clearly how toxic masculinity affects women.
Mhm,
How is it affecting men? And actually, how is it even affecting when I'm going inward, like my relationship to me? Like the
mhm,
number of men that are suffering because of the pressures to be a man, and all the things, all those judgments that they're pouring outward, but also are coming inward too. And
mhm.
we hear from time to time those suicide statistics of young men. It's a real thing.
Oh,
There's a lot of damage.
for my age group, this always bothers me. For my age group, in between, I think it's between 35 and 45, the most likely way I am to die is by my own hand. Is through
Mhm.
suicide. That's the
Yeah.
number one cause of death from 35 to 45 in males.
Hmm.
Something is wrong.
100%.
Something is not working, and that's within the last decade. Something changed in the last decade for men between 35 and 45.
You
So we
think
need
you
to
think
do some work.
you think got worse?
It's got
Or
worse, yeah, it's getting worse daily. Yeah.
mm, I mean, that's interesting because
And
there
I
is
won't always quote statistics, but that is such a huge one. That's such
yeah,
a big one that we need to face, and that's in the UK. Worldwide, that's a big problem for yeah, it's a big problem for all of us. So
there's
there is a fight here that needs to happen.
100%. And there's actually there's a correlation. You got some other cultures, I guess, would be maybe considered a bit more like masculine dominant, like this, like Russia, for example, has
Mm,
that same sort of like, British hooliganism, alpha male thing. And
mm,
their statistics are super high as well. So it's like, there is this link between the more men are told to just, I don't know, hold it all in, button up, and just power on forward. It's all just sitting in there. It's not like there's an amazing documentary called The Work, which is about a prison, a group therapy program in a prison in America. And you've got like the baddest, you got murderers, gang members, like tough dudes.
mhm,
And it's all, they do these like this 4-day workshop or whatever. And it's them like expressing some emotions for the first time in their life, like no tears for 25 years or something. And, but it's like, if those emotions and that like weakness and that vulnerability exists in those guys who are like the meanest, toughest dudes, it exists in like all of us,
mhm,
we're all suppressing so much inside that then that's not that comes out sideways to women, to other men, and then inwards to ourselves. So they're absolutely, I think, I hope that the next part of the conversation really will be like men starting to take a proper look at themselves, and it's quite funny because I personally feel, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like if I try to be part of the conversation, there's almost something like, oh, that's a bit soft of you, or it's a bit fatty, and like I should actually just be one of the lads, one of the men who are just part of this system, and
mhm.
actually try to go against it. It's just like, ah, fuck off, mate. Like, what do you? I don't know. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, yeah, no, it is hard to engage in a conversation with someone that doesn't already agree with you. Of course, that's the challenge that we face of shifting mindsets. That the narrative that they've been fed for a long time is the world is one way, and to be successful, you need to be a certain way. So it is difficult to change it, but I think it's just I don't think we can I don't think we can just give up. I don't think we can not try and pursue the conversation just because they're threatening or they don't want to hear it. I think we need to, even if we can change just one person's mindset through a conversation, potentially I have hope that, we'll share this on social media, this clip, and hopefully one person might hear it and start to question, might start to have some critical thinking and might start to go, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe I need to go deeper and look at more.
Hmm.
Maybe I need to, I don't think people are curious enough. I
Hmm.
think we need to move. I think people are naturally very judgmental, and it would be really nice if we could find a way to move from that judgment into curiosity.
Hmm.
I know for me personally, that's what's changed my life and made my life a lot better. Um, so I guess what I'm getting to is maybe we can be part of the conversation by being an example.
Hmm.
Maybe, Mark, you are a future role model. You are do you know what I mean? That's that's what we're maybe that's what we're trying to do, maybe that's what we're offering here. We're offering a place where we're going, "Come and see our theatre show, come and hear our story, come and be entertained, but have an opportunity to think about the world in a different way as well." maybe, maybe you've been sold a lie by these guys telling you can be millionaires by being an arsehole. Do you
Hmm.
know? Like, maybe
Yeah.
that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. Just
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just saying maybe. Maybe look at it. Was you sold a lie?
Yeah.
Was you
Yeah.
conned? You
Yeah. I
know?
mean, and it's not, I also don't want to come at it in a kind of preachy way, because it's like, this is something that I struggle with too. It's like
Mhm,
that battle of, what kind of man am I showing up as? I don't want to kind of be like, oh, you look at all those dudes being like super toxic, and me, I'm, great. But I kind of feel like, yeah, I mean, what ways do we have really, than other than it's the example of ourselves? And I guess, trying to be brave to sort of put yourself out there, and then, how powerful is art as a medium? Like, can it really change minds? And I personally feel like, yes, it can.
mhm.
And you know, it's not like the 60 people who will come on a Tuesday to see No Hard Felix, all of them are gonna be like, come out. But as you say, like, you might just have that one little question to one person, and what when that seed is planted, uh, the benefit that that can have, like, even just, I kind of, my goal with this show, I said, is like, if just a couple of people could come out of the show, and it makes them that little bit softer, you
Mhm.
know? There's a little bit of a softness and an openness to a different way. Um, then yeah, 100%, like, it's all worth it. And that's kind of why, we do this to have fun, and to, um because we love to perform and stuff. But it's also, if your art can be useful in some way, then let's do it.
I think actually there's a word you hit on there that I think is quite key to all of this, is that fun. How many people have you ever known that have got those toxic masculinity traits? Do they ever look like they're having fun? Do they actually look like that they're having a good time in this? Apart from the ones that are the social media influencers that are
Yeah.
that they've hired a car or they've hired a jet and they're pretending that they've got the perfect girlfriend. Apart from those ones, in the real world, do they actually look like they're having a good time in this life?
No, I don't think so. I think you look in their eyes, and
Mhm,
that it's an absolute bind, really, that style of thinking. Like, when you experience what it is to kind of, I don't know how to say it. Being vulnerable is maybe the wrong word, but just to share yourself in a really authentic way with other
mhm.
people. It's like so good for the soul, and if you're just constantly keeping that, locked in, and of course, I think there's only real misery there. And then, when you say, like, what fun are they having? Maybe then it's just fun at the expense of others, really. It becomes this sort of cruelty, or this, but there's more fun to be had when everyone's having fun, rather
Yeah.
than, just you.
A collective fun rather than an individual one is better, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
Mm. So going away from, we've covered a lot of masculinity here, and we're trying to figure out some answers. But I'm wondering for you, as we move away from that, I'm wondering for you what the fringe looks like in your mind, what your hopes and dreams are of the place and of the experience that you're gonna be going into.
I mean, I mean, there's the performances themselves. I hope to learn a lot about the show, and try out a bunch of different things, and feel what it's like to have a different audience every night, and see, there might be one night where there's four people in the audience, and then there might be a full house the next. Like, there's a whole journey there. Um, and the whole, even adventure of flyering, and putting all this energy into trying to make something happen. And I mean, everyone's trying to get their show to be a bit of a hit, really. So
Of course, yeah.
you're trying to play this game, and I'm going into it with very little experience of how to do that.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I'm just up for the kind of intensity of it all. Like, I'm part of me is glad that I'm not doing the full Fringe actually, because what, 3.5 weeks, like I'm just doing
Yeah, yeah.
half of it. So that's a good entry entry to. You've done many, have you? Have you performed there too?
No, I've never performed there. I've just been there, taken the podcast there 2 years in a row. I would say that, it's a different experience every time you go. It's I try not to give advice, but I would say try not to go there with too much expectations of achievements because,
Okay.
there's 5,000 shows gonna be there this year. That you
Yeah.
that there's a l and there's more shows than audience. So, that can be a tough thing. I say that at particular times, like on a Monday or a Tuesday, things are gonna drop and um, so it's not easy to make a success of the Fringe, and those success stories. It is 1 in 5,000.
Yeah.
It is that. I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from it as I look at other people is the successful ones are actually the ones that concentrate and work on connections, that concentrate and work on building a community within the theatre world, within the arts,
Mm,
and it's not the ones that don't see this just about being about themselves and what they're doing. It's the
right.
people that go out, you take time to go and see other people's shows, that you connect with the other people that are flyering, that you do go to the pub and you have a drink with someone that you met on the street. That's where
Hmm.
the real success I see is happening. That's
Okay.
where things leave that you have the Fringe, but then it echoes from there, that things
Right.
carry on. And it's the
No,
people
that's
that connect, they're the ones that I see that are truly successful. They might not have got the Netflix deal there and then, but their career is building. Something is happening.
mm,
So
no,
that's my
that's
biggest advice.
good advice. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, building your little community, and
Mhm.
yeah, being a team player within the Fringe, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm
'Cause it
excited. I mean,
'cause you go in and it feels like, all this pre-work that you do, it feels like a solo sport. You're putting so much effort into it. You want it to be good for you. So your mindset is like me, 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 me. But when you're open up, it's if you can find a way to shift that to, "Oh, and what about," there is a moment for you as well, you
mm,
know?
mm. I've uh, I've started a Instagram page.
Mhm.
No Hard Felix is the Instagram handle, and it's actually Felix's Instagram. So
Yes, yes, I've
it's
noticed.
so and
Which
it's
which
kind of
gave me a curious insight into who I was gonna be talking today. Because to be honest with you, I didn't think I was gonna be talking to you.
um,
I thought I was getting this Felix, and I was up for a more challenging
up
conversation
for a
here.
challenge. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, half the people on there think that he's a real
Mm.
guy, so that's kind of
Yeah.
the gag at the moment. And then
Mhm.
at some point, I will start promoting the show on there. But he's sort of taken off a little bit unexpectedly. So I hope I can build a bit of momentum through that, and
Mhm.
um, you know, and then get a wee bit of buzz going into it, and then obviously the Fringe itself is its own beast, and um, so yeah. But
And so what have
that's
you experienced then, as you say, it's taken off the presenting Felix to the world on social media? What has the engagement kind of been like for you then?
I mean, a lot of people think that he's like American Psycho or something, like Patrick Bateman, or
Yes.
there's a lot of
That's
people.
exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was thinking, Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, people think that he's just like someone's. There's one comment I liked, which is LinkedIn maxing, I enjoyed. They just think he's like the final boss of LinkedIn,
Mhm,
and some people know that it's satire, and other people don't. So some people are just appalled by him and just think that he's rude, and other people are can
mm.
feel that it's just, I don't know, a gag. So, um, but yeah, even it's like there's some people comment on it, and some of the comments just like hit you right in the heart, you know? Like I've never like done, I'm not a big social media user. And so even though it's like as this guy, I'm like, screw you. How dare you, how dare you say that about me? You know, like, but the feelings pass fairly quickly, but you know,
Mhm.
people can be pretty nasty. And but that's the thing about like finance bros. It's also this like sector of humanity where we really do roll our eyes and are just like, okay, go away. And probably rightly so in a way, because it's like you guys are, you know, messing the whole world up. So I do get a lot of people just being like, I don't want you on my Instagram page, please go away. Um, but yeah, ultimately I'm trying to humanize him a bit, but not like not
Not too
make it
much that he starts becoming you.
y- oh
You know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
you got to keep the character and the Felix separate and
I
yourself,
know.
Mark separate,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I'll have to make sure to keep that separate, yeah.
Yeah. So, I wonder then, Mark, if there was a moment in your life that you could go back to. I sometimes go time traveling on the podcast, and, if there was a moment that you could go back to where maybe you were leaning into that toxic masculinity, is there somewhere you would go and give yourself any advice at all? Is there a moment in your life where you go, "I needed to tell myself this"?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, how deep do you want to get here? No. Um, yeah, I mean, like, just, but I was just part of it. I was part of a, just as I said, a culture of just meanness. You know, we were all very mean to one another. Like, all my mates would be my friends.
Mhm.
Like, but we were all kind of bullying one another,
Yeah.
and those actions like leave scars. You
Yeah.
know, and
I remember that from school as well myself. There was a you know, and I think actually that's why when I left school, I wasn't bothered about keeping any of those connections there
oh, really? Okay.
because of that, because it was like, I don't need this in my life, you know?
Right. Okay. Fair. Fair. Yeah. I mean, there was a moment in our friendship group where it was like, are we going to just keep doing this and still being these like, you know, almost replicas of each other, but also
Mhm,
just, you know, you're all part of this collective pack of bit boys being mean. And then, but it's just not allowing anyone really to flourish or really be themselves.
mhm.
And yeah, then there was a certain moment where it's just like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. Like, like we're just, it's not benefiting any of us. So I think I would have liked to go back a bit earlier um, and have those words with myself. But also, it takes time to come to that understanding. Really, you know, you're a product of the environment around you. You know,
Mm,
like I played rugby at school and grew up in that kind of beer drinking. That you're just eating it up, and then at a certain point, you start. Well, I hope people start to kind of question it and think like, is there another path here? And some people never do, really, do they? They could just
no,
keep it going. Um, but yeah, um, that's what I'd say. There's no specific moment, but it would just maybe be nice to uh, accept the kind of softer sides of me earlier in my life.
mm, yeah, acceptance is important, isn't it? Yeah, accepting who we are within all of this and stop fighting, I guess. I guess that's a huge part of the toxic masculinity is that fighting to be someone you're not.
Yeah, you're desperately trying to become like the man, like this. It is this performance of mass. It is this like. Whereas, what are you really telling me that there's not parts of you that are like sensitive or that you're not hurt somewhere, like
Mhm,
really hurt and get afraid sometimes or get intimidated or really you're always like
yeah.
so. Yeah, that acceptance is hard. I still struggle with that, like still if there are moments that I'm feeling low, like I don't, there's just those voices in my head just being like, "Oh, I'm par forward," just pretend everything's okay.
Mhm.
There's it's everywhere. Even despite years of kind of exploring this in myself and also doing it through my art, I'm still kind of constantly, um, slipping back into those old voices.
It's a constant challenge, isn't it? It isn't something that we can ever let up on, that we can ever yeah, working out those voices in our head and working out, yeah, how do we actually keep moving forward, and does it have to be a constant fight and battle?
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah.
So Mark, we've covered some really important things here today. This has been a really important conversation, and like I said earlier, this kind of conversation is exactly why I'm doing the podcast, because this is the stuff that needs to be talked about. This is the stuff that needs to be shared. But also within doing this podcast and having these deep, important conversations, I have formulated kind of one uh, important question for my guests, and one that I ask everyone, and everyone's got a different answer. So thinking about what we've discussed today, how would you, Mark, make this a better world?
Oh. How would I make it a better world? I think we just have to go back to human connection again. We have to go back to being able to look into someone else's eyes and see that they're just a human being. Like I honestly feel like that, even just that act is so powerful because you so quickly forget, you so quickly demonize the other side, or we are so right and they're so wrong, and we lose this shared humanity. And like the, there's a acting exercise, the Meisner exercise, which is all based on, you start and you reflect each other back,
Mhm.
and you you just you can spend maybe an hour like looking into someone's eyes, and it's weird because you're like, normally you look in someone's eyes for like 2 seconds or something, and then
Mhm.
you're
Look
gonna want
away.
we don't want to be seen, and we don't want to like see them. But there's something very, very powerful about how those walls can come down when we start to do that. But
Mhm.
we're living in a world which is pushing us more and more to isolation and a lack of connection. So there has to be a fight against that. And I think the the fight starts with getting out there and making connections with other people, and and uh and sharing with them, and yeah, if there's a bit more of that in this technological AI numbing world that we're going into, I think that's the antidote, or that's the way to fight back against it.
Yeah. And that connection through the eyes is really important. That made me think about one of the biggest pieces of advice when I was going through marriage troubles. That someone was like, just take a moment to look at your partner in the eyes. Just both of you connect and just truly look at each other.
Mm.
And I think through all the talking, all the advice we got, I think that was the biggest fix. I think that was the truly, if I really think about it, that was like the biggest moment where we both realized we're both human beings.
Wow.
And we're
Okay.
both just, we're both just trying to find what's best for both of us. And
Hmm.
yeah, all words went, and yeah, and it was, it was something new from there. So there is truly a key to connection through the eyes, I believe.
More eye contact. We solved it, Martin. We've
The
solved
more
it.
eye contact, yeah, yeah. It opens up the honesty as well. It opens up the truth, I think. And
Yeah.
I think we should be less fearful of that because, yeah, for some reason we are scared. For some reason we are scared to look at each other in the eyes.
100%.
But truly, there is nothing to be fearful there. Just dive straight in.
Yeah. But don't stare too long on the tube, maybe that'll
No, no,
that could
maybe there are some rules. There are some rules. Let's not make each other feel uncomfortable now. Right. Well, Mark, this is a bit like I said. This has been a really important conversation. I really enjoyed talking to you today, and I'm really looking forward to coming to see your show at the Edinburgh Fringe. So,
Great.
just
Thank you so much for having me on, and I really enjoyed the conversation. It was great.
no problem at all. Just remind me one last time, Mark. Where will we find you?
Just the tonic at the Caves at 1:20 on the first half of the Fringe, the 6th to the 17th of August. So I'm an afternoon slot. So
Excellent.
a lunchtime slot.
And where will we find more about Felix on social media?
No Hard Felix is the Instagram. And so yeah, just follow along him and his little journey over the next few months. I've got some storylines cooked up for him. So
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Mark. And
great.
if anyone has been watching or listening, we appreciate you for joining us for this conversation. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.